Here we are again, section 15.4, law of sines. The last lesson when we did law of cosines, there are 5 ways to prove triangle congruency. Hypotenuse leg, which means it's a right triangle, and you can use SOHCAHTOA. Then we did side, 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 and side, angle, side, and that was in the last lesson, and we did law of cosines. So we have angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle, which will be the law of sines, which I'll go through in today's lesson. And then just keep in mind that side, side, angle, no, no, no. And the next lesson will explain why that's true. So let's go back to geometry for a minute, everybody's favorite. You have some proportion A over B is equal to C over D. Their reciprocals are also equal. Okay, so the reciprocals are also equal. And numerator over numerator is equal to denominator over denominator. So this is the same thing as A over C equals B over D. Numerator over numerator is equal to denominator over denominator. Then using that property, you can say, okay, numerator over numerator. Sorry, I did something wrong here. Oh, no, I didn't. You can say that the reciprocals are true, which is C over A equals D over B. So all 4 of those proportions are true. It's going to be a nice trick, so to speak, to remember as we're doing law of sines, but it's not something that you absolutely have to know. Here we go. Law of sines. Law of sines says that the sine of angle A divided by the length of its side, which is A, is equal to the sine of angle B over B, which is equal to the sine of C over C. This is the law of sines. Also, I like to use alpha, beta, gamma instead of A, B, C. So the sine of alpha over A is equal to the sine of beta over B, which is equal to the sine of gamma over C. Wow, so much easier than the law of cosines, no doubt about it. I'll show you though why law of cosines can't, or law of sines can't always be used. Let's start with when it can be used. So let's start with angle, angle, side. And I'm going to erase this part. So I said let's start with angle, angle, side, but you know what? Angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle, you know all 3 angles, regardless. So for law of sines, all you need is an angle and its opposite side, and an angle and its opposite side. You need to have 3 of the 4. There are 4 unknowns: alpha, beta, A, B. And if you know 3 of the 4, then you can solve. So here we go. If I could get the cap off the marker. Here we go. None of my triangles are drawn to scale, ever. So let's say that angle A is, let's say angle B is 100 degrees. And so we're going to do angle, let's say that alpha is 24 angle. And let's say C is 8. Okay, so here's the given, and I want to find side, let's find side A. Okay, well, if I know 2 angles, I automatically know the third. So that's going to be AD minus, oops, 56 degrees. Now you have 3 of the 4 pieces of information that you need. So I know that C is 56. So the sine of 56 degrees over the length of its side, which is 8, is equal to, I want to find side A. I need to use angle A, alpha. So that's going to be equal to the sine of 24 degrees over A. Plug and chug. So 8 times the sine of 24 degrees divided by nearest hundredth, please. 3.92. So angle A is the smallest angle, so side A needs to be the shortest side. From geometry, smallest angle, shortest side, largest angle, longest side, and then in between angle, in between side. So A must be less than 8. A must be less than 8, which it is. Okay, so that was angle, side, angle. But again, if you know 2 angles of a triangle, you automatically know the third. If you know 2 angles of a triangle, you automatically know the third. How's that? I drew it different. Okay, so that was, the previous example was angle, side, angle. Now I'll do angle, angle, side. Angle, let's say 93. Angle, angle, side. That's a 7. Okay, let's find B. Let's find, no, that's not. Let's find C. Let's find C. I know an angle, its opposite side. So that's going to be the sine of 93 degrees over 7. If I'm looking for side C, I need to know angle C, but I do. Angle C is 180 minus 93 minus 42. Okay. 180 minus 93 minus 42. 45 degrees. Oh, how funny is that? So I'm going to do the sine of 45, which is root 2 over 2. Sine of 45, root 2 over 2. So C is equal to 7 times the sine of 45 degrees divided by the sine of 93 degrees. 7 sine 45 divided by sine 93. 4.96. And it definitely should be, right, angle C is 45 degrees, which is smaller than 93 degrees. So it should be shorter than 7, which it is. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of how come you can't always use the law of sines. I mean, it's so much nicer than the law of cosines. It's so much easier to remember, but it's not always doable, and I will show you why. So let's say you have law of cosines. Let's do side, 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 let's say. You're given side, side, side. How about 4, 9, 10. 13 is greater than 10, 14 is greater than 9, and 19. Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure it was a triangle first. Okay, so you have 3 sides, and you want to find one of the angles. So let's find beta. I like beta. Okay, so there's beta. Okay, great. Well, the sine of alpha, which I don't know, over A, which is 10, is equal to the sine of beta, which I don't know, over 4, is equal to the sine of gamma, which I don't know, over 9. The sine of the angle, length of its side. The sine of the angle, the length of its side. The sine of the angle, the length of... There's too many unknowns. There's too many unknowns. So if I were to cross multiply, I wouldn't be able to solve for beta or gamma or whatever. So you cannot use the law of sines. There's too many unknowns. So what if you're given side angle side? Okay, awesome. Maybe that'll work better for us. So I'm sorry, this was the side case. No law of sines. You have to use law of cosines. If you're not sure, like which one am I supposed to use when, do a setup, and hopefully when you do the setup, you'll say, oh, right, I can't do law of sines, I don't have enough information. You can always try and set it up first. So this time, let's do side angle side. So let's say that I tell you that, all right, let's stick with A is 10, B is 4, so I have side, and I'm going to give you an angle. 51. Okay, so let's try doing law of sines again, and let's say I want to find, I don't know, let's just find C. It doesn't matter which side you want to find, it's not going to work. So let's do the setup. A, so you would do the sine of alpha over 10, okay, that's one unknown, is equal to the sine of beta over 4. This is problematic. I only know 2 of the 4, not going to help me. And that's going to equal to the sine of 51 degrees over C. No matter how you rearrange this, you don't have enough information. In this setup, you're missing 2 angles, doesn't help. In this setup, you're missing a side and angle, doesn't help. And if you take out the middle, move this here, if you take out the middle, unknown, unknown, doesn't help. So you cannot use the law of sines with side, 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 and side angle side. Okay, so there's the law of sines. Again, make sure your calculator's in degrees. And in the next lesson, we're going to talk about side, side angle and why it doesn't work for triangle congruency.